Do I really need a doctor? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and miscellaneous odds and ends. Today we're going to talk about, do I really need a doctor? I personally do not have a primary care physician. Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. There's something going on up there in that yard, so we're going to go down the other way today, because I don't want to have to deal with loud crowds of people outside. It is slightly raining. It's just kind of sprinkling out here today. But we're going to get into this here in just a second. For those of you new to the channel, welcome. I'm glad you're here. The exciting thing about what you're watching here is that I'm out here walking. I know that doesn't seem super exciting, but 16 months ago I couldn't do this. I could barely stand for 2 to 2.5 minutes at a time. And now I'm out here walking every day. The whole point of this channel is to show you that it's never too late to change your life. I'm 60 years old now. I started this journey the day before my 59th birthday. The whole purpose of this channel is to show you that it's never too late to change your life. So why don't you go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, drop down in the comments and leave me a comment, even if it's just hi Bob. Because any interaction with the channel helps the message get out that it's never too late to change your life. And that's really what this is all about. For those of you returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm glad you're here as well. It means an awful lot that you spend a couple moments of your day with me. So let's just jump right on into this thing. Now remember, I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. This is not medical advice. And the choice of how to handle this situation is entirely up to you. But the reason I decided to talk about this a little bit today is because one of the biggest questions I see in both my comments and across all of the groups that I kind of monitor for and try to answer questions in is, I can't find a low-carb doctor in my area. What do I do? And we're going to talk about that just a little bit. First, the first thing I would suggest to you is Dr. Barry has a video on how to find a low-carb doctor. Go find that. He's got a lot of links to websites where you can attempt to find a low-carb doctor in your area. Barring that, if that doesn't work out for you because, the closest one you can find is 4 or 5 hours away, the next thing I would suggest is, if you're in the situation where you still absolutely have to have a doctor because you're correcting issues, you're working your way getting off meds, there are many reasons why you absolutely have to have a doctor. I would say, since you have to have a doctor, go to whatever doctor you can find, and when they ask you what you're eating, if they even ask you, tell them you're eating a modified Mediterranean diet. That will appease them, because nobody really knows what the heck a Mediterranean diet is anyway. And it sounds really good. It's one of those things that sounds great. People have been saying I'm on a Mediterranean diet for decades now, but nobody can really explain what a Mediterranean diet is. And as long as you understand that no matter what certain labs come back at, primarily we're talking about LDL here, they're going to try and get you to take a statin, and because you've been educated, you're not going to take that statin. And remember, your doctor works for you. All you're really interested in is the labs that help you get off of your medication or heal something that still needs healing. If you're in that situation like I am now, where I don't really feel like I have anything that absolutely needs healed, then there is a website out there called Own Your Labs. You can go sign up there and then combine Own Your Labs with Dr. Barry and Kim Howerton's book, Common Sense Labs. Figure out what you want to check and just get them checked at an independent lab. Then you don't have to deal with the doctor. And you know what I'm working on here is the few labs that I want to get run are the ones that will see if I've got something really bad working in my lab work. You know, if cancer markers start showing up or that kind of stuff, then I probably want to know about that sooner rather than later. But as far as going to an actual doctor, yes, I still have my cardiologist, but I'm on a only see him once a year plan now because I've been doing so well. That, you know, unless I have something falling off or feels like it's going to fall off, I'm not going to go to a primary care physician. What's the point? All they're going to do is say everything looks good, or they're going to say this looks bad, which you would have found out about if you'd just done your own labs through an independent laboratory. Or they're going to start yelling at you and saying stupid stuff about cholesterol. And we've talked about this many times before. Knowing the information in the Common Sense Labs, my personal opinion is that as long as your HDL is up and your triglycerides are down, it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference what your LDL says it is. And remember, as Bart Kay has taught us, there is no actual evidence anywhere in the peer-reviewed literature other than some very, very weak associations that LDL has anything to do with heart disease. I don't believe it does, because I believe in Professor K and I believe in my own lab work that I get done in an independent lab. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit of a controversy for some people, because we've always been taught, oh, got to go to the doctor at least once a year, get everything checked out. I believe that's modern medicine thinking. It's what modern medicine has taught us over the course of the last several decades, because they want everybody going to a doctor. My stepdad never went to a doctor. He was perfectly healthy, except for his slow driving. And I think that's what got him hit by a truck while he was out driving down in Florida. And I believe he was 77 or 78 when he passed. But it had nothing to do with his health. He got hit by a truck while driving his car. So, and like I said, he never went to a doctor. Again, this is one of those things where you have to make up your own mind, decide for yourself on what you're going to do. But for me personally, at this point in my life, I don't think I need a primary care physician. Because even if I went to him and he said, you know, here's the absolute proof that this way of eating is going to kill you next week, I don't think I'd change, because my life is so much better now. There is one other question. This is where most of you are probably going to bail out of the video, but I got a lot of questions about Cerule products in Friday's live stream. So what I'm going to do here is insert my interview with Professor K and him talking about the cerebral products. He actually talks about the science behind them, which I'm not comfortable doing because we all know Bob gets in trouble when he tries to do science. If you bail out now, thanks for watching this far. I hope you have a great day. For those of you that are going to stick around for the cerebral presentation, thanks for sticking around for that.
Absolutely, my pleasure, and my my solemn duty to do so, because this is very, very important. In your bone marrow, every one of you, are a population of cells called adult stem cells. What are those? They are cells containing all of your DNA, all the instructions that make up you, in a blank cell format. These are a cell that are not specialized in any way. They're not what we call an adult cell line. Your heart cell is a specialized cell. The cells of your heart are specialized. The cells of your brain are specialized to be neurons. The cells in your skin are specialized to be skin, etc. These cells are blank. They can be anything at all except sperm or eggs. Probably a good thing at our age. We don't want any extra of those, frankly. What do these cells do? They hang around in your bone marrow until they get a chemical message for some reason saying, release us into the bloodstream. When they are released into the bloodstream, these adult stem cells will tool around in the blood for a bit and do magic things like exude first aid packages out to other cells, calm down inflammation, kill off cancer cells, all sorts of wonderful things like that, until they recognize cells and tissues in your body that are worn, tired, aged, dysfunctional, diseased, broken down, not working properly. Such damaged cells usually have flags on their cell membrane saying, I'm not working properly, come and replace me. And the adult stem cell says, I see your flag, I bind to you, stuck there, I dissolve the old cell out of the way, and I differentiate and become a new adult skin cell, hair follicle cell, no, not hair follicle cells, doesn't work for those. Eyeball cells, heart cells, anything your body might actually need for health purposes. So not hair follicle cells, unfortunately. Whatever. I'll get over it one day, Bob. Maybe.
You and me both.
I lost my hair when I was 28, and so I've had time to get over it, I suppose. Right. Anyway, so adult stem cells, what do? They replace your tissues with new ones. Wow. How cool is that? Now, the other thing you need to understand about cells, adult cells in your body, is an adult cell will divide an X number of times, and then they stop dividing, upon which those cells will age, and eventually they will crap out and die. And when enough of your cells have crapped out and died, so will you. We all will at some point. It's a fait accompli. What is it that determines how many times any given cell line will divide? It's a thing, apparently, called a telomere, which is a length of DNA on the end of each one of your chromosomes, X number of 100 base pairs long, whatever it is, X number of 1,000. I think it is actually thousands, yeah. It's like the plastic thing on the end of a shoelace that stops the shoelace from fraying. Every time a cell divides, that telomere gets a little bit shorter. It's the biological clock. And when that telomere gets to a certain critical short length, that tells that cell line that it can't divide anymore. So it stops. That's one of the things that determines your lifespan as a human being. An adult stem cell, when it goes from your bone marrow, tools around, does its magic, then binds to a cell and replaces that cell with a new one. That new cell has a full-length telomere. As in full length. It will divide as many times as it would have done had you just been born that day. That cell line. So will this prevent you from dying? No, you still will at some point. However, that might be years and years later than you otherwise would have, potentially, depending on how many adult stem cells replace how many worn cells that you might have in your body. Maybe. That is not a therapeutic claim. This company has very rigorous rules, which are mandated to us by the jolly old FDA, and they will not allow us to make therapeutic claims. Quite rightly so, too. So we don't. All we do is tell you the science. That's what it is. So if you have any kind of disease process born of years on the planet, wear and tear, dysfunction, disease process of any kind, even if that's pathological disease process, because one of the things adult stem cells can do is become more immune cells, by the way, then I would suggest to you that this product would be something that you should very, very seriously get yourself involved with taking religiously on a day-by-day basis. And I'd start doing that yesterday. I really would. Personally, I started taking this product 13 years ago when I was told by an eye specialist that I could expect to be legally blind within 5 years. 13 years ago, I was told that. I'm not legally blind, by the way. I can see fine. In fact, my eyesight's better than it was 13 years ago. It's almost as if something's happened, which I'm not allowed to make any kind of therapeutic claim about whatsoever. So I'm not, except I'm not blind. That's a fact. So either the best eye specialist in the country in which I live is an imbecile and was wrong about the diagnosis, which he wasn't, because I've seen the photos of the back of my eyes, which informed him and me, because I'm quite knowledgeable in such areas myself. Yes, I agree. I'm going blind. Goodness. Anyway, a photo taken a year ago shows no such damage. It's gone. It's completely reversed. A thing that's medically impossible and could not possibly have occurred. Nonetheless, it did. So, yeah, I'd get into that. Absolutely. So this product releases your adult stem cells. That's our flagship product. This product here dissolves fibrin deposits out of your capillaries, allowing said stem cells to get to where they need to go. Why do you get fibrin in your vasculature? Well, it's an inflammatory process born of inappropriate chronic systemic inflammation, which is a result of modern lifestyles. Short-term inflammation indicated, a good thing. Supposed to happen. Long-term, no, it ends up with your vessels being all plugged up with fibrin. This product dissolves it. Good. This product here, which doesn't even look like that anymore because this has a new label. That one is an anti-inflammatory. One of the biggest problems people have is inflammation. So that one deals with inflammation without the side effects of most anti-inflammatory prescription drugs. So that's great. There's one there if you're rheumatic or have joint issues. It's the same stuff with a different formulation, really, for all intents and purposes. And as you age, one of the things you also are unable to do is produce much collagen, which is the most important protein in your body. So I'd get that into you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that little insert from Professor K explaining about cereal products. That's what I've got for you today, folks. Don't forget, get out there, be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you in the next one.